Welcome to 100 Yards of Football this morning. It's history special time, and I got a very nice history special this morning. It's the team of the decade, the Cleveland Browns from 1946 to 1955. I'm your host, Vincent Turner, and what I'm going to do in the next few minutes, I'm going to talk about how special this football team was, and really, it was the first dynasty in the National Football League. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it as I talk about the great Cleveland Browns from 1946 to 1955. Let's talk about the Browns. This was a special football team. And when you talk about dynasties, this Cleveland Browns team was very special for 10 years. First started in the All-American Football Conference when they was playing teams such as the New York Yankees, the Brooklyn Dodgers, the Buffalo Bisons from 1946 to 1949. The Browns ended up winning 4 titles. They had a winning percentage of 84.2%. But the National Football League was come calling saying they weren't playing competition. And there was a beef between the Browns organization and the Philadelphia Eagles organization and the commissioner at the time, Burt Bell. But you know what? The Browns said, I tell you what, y'all complaining that we're not playing on competition. We winning championships over there. So we're going to come over in 1950 and we're going to join the National Football League. And we still going to keep this train running. But what stuck out about this football team, first and foremost, I'm going to start with 2 very, very important pieces of this team. That was the team of the decade. Number 1, the head coach, Paul Brown. I know right now we talk about a lot of coaches in the history of this great game, football, both on the college level and the professional level. And we talk about Bear Bryant, we talk about Eddie Robertson, we talk about Nick Saban right now on the college level, and then we talk about Bill Belichick, Vince Lombardi. But when you look at Paul Brown, back when this great game got started, football from a college, high school, in the NFL, it's probably no one who done it better. The guy won a championship at the high school level in Massillon, Ohio. Then he went to Ohio State and won a national championship in 1942. Then he went down the road and became a professional coach, and you see what he done. From 1946 to 1955, he led this organization in 10 championship games, combined with the All-American Football Conference in the NFL. The Browns made it to every championship game, and they won 7 titles. The other key piece to this decade and to this special team was the quarterback, Otto Graham. And his story is fascinating. He went to Northwestern University really as a music major. And really he was going to walk on the football team. But how he got discovered is that he was playing intramural football. And one of the coaches at Northwestern at the time, while Mr. Graham was in college, said, hey, this guy can really spin it. And when he got drafted by the Cleveland Browns, Otto Graham was, man, you talking about at another level. And his story is fascinating because he walked on in Northwestern. And he became one of the greatest quarterbacks to drive the bus from 1946 to 1955. But what really stuck out to me about this Cleveland Browns dynasty, it wasn't that when they played in the All-American Football Conference from 1946 to 1949. It's when the NFL came calling and they took out their best team. In 1950, it was the Philadelphia Eagles. And the league said, hey, Cleveland, you have to go on the road and play our best team. And it was the Eagles, a September Saturday night, 1950. And everybody that was following this great game thought that the Eagles was going to, however, put that wood down on the Cleveland Browns. But Otto Graham put on the show. 346 yards, 5 touchdowns. Cleveland ended up beating Philadelphia in that first game of the year, 35-10. They went on and won the championship that year, beating a great Los Angeles Rams team, 30-28. And the Brown dynasty was born. The next 3 years, they made the championship games, but they ended up losing back-to-back to the Detroit Lions that was led by the great Bobby Lamb. But when everybody thought the Browns were slipping, Otto Graham was complaining about retirement. In 1954, the Browns came all the way back, and they won the championship again, beating the Detroit Lions 35-10. And then in 1955, as I get my notes right. The final year of their dynasty, they beat the Los Angeles Rams 38-14. But what stuck out about that football team was Otto Graham from an offensive standpoint, but it was the receivers. Dub Jones, by way of LSU and Tulane. Great receiver. His son Burt was a first-round pick of the Baltimore Colts, played at LSU. Max Speedy, one of the best route runners from an offensive standpoint. Dante Lavetti, Speed, that was his nickname. Another great guy that made this dynasty go. But in the backfield, the young man out of South Carolina State, 258 pounds of pure dynamite. The Black Rambo of the National Football League at that time, Marilyn Motley, was very special with the Cleveland Browns that year. Then they had the man playing offensive line and one of the best kickers in the game, Lou Grossa. And then they had one of the best guards, who was the All-American at Ohio State, Bill Willis. And then on the defensive side of the ball, one of the best defensive ends rushing the passer, Mr. Lenny Ford. The Cleveland Browns dynasty is one of the best that ever took it to another level. So thinking about this statistic, from 1946 to 1955, in two conferences, the All-American Football Conference and the National Football League, they went to the championship game 10 times and won 7 championships. 84% winning percentage. And it was an average by 3 touchdowns in the all championship games. The Cleveland Browns, this dynasty was special. And it was so special. It happened before Jim Brown got there in the 50s and 60s. But this was the team. When you're talking about dynasties and you're talking about the New England Patriots, you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys, you're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers, we better put in breath the Cleveland Browns. This team of the decade from 1946 to 1955, they're the ones that got started with the word dynasty. Remember the names of these great teams. Paul Brown, one of the best that ever coached. Otto Graham, Northwestern finest. Mary Motley, South Carolina State. Bill Willis, Ohio State. Dub Jones, LSU and Tulane. And Lenny Ford, one of the best defensive players that ever played. My hat's off to this football team because they started what is so special about the history of this game, the National Football League. The Cleveland Browns, the first dynasty in the NFL. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. I surely appreciate it here at 100 Yards of Football. And as the great band from the state of Ohio, by the name of the Ohio Players, the Cleveland Browns from 46 to 55, they were on fire. Doom, 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 doom. Fire. Doom, 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 doom. Thank you for watching the video today. I'm Vincent Turner here at 100 Yards of Football.